see. How are we looking here? And yep. Nope. That's last week. We good to go? Yes! We are live. Whoop whoop. Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined once again, social distanced, with my co-host, Jedi Jason Kruger. And, well, if there's ever a week that I really didn't want to do this show, it's this week. Yeah, but if you've never seen this show before, this is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Jedi and I have been watching wrestling together for over 15 years. We love wrestling. We love talking wrestling with the passionate wrestling fans like each and every one of you out there. However, at the end of the day, we're just like all of you out there. We're fans. We avoid insider terms. We hold the same opinions that are about like each and every one of you because at the end of the day, we're not insiders, we're not wrestlers, we're just two marks. And yeah, my heart's really not in this one because, well, just a depressing week, really.
Yeah.
And you got Ray in here. Hello.
Yeah, it's been a busy week for me, so I'm still trying to catch up on everything that happened here in reading format.
Let's talk about. Let's get through the actual wrestling part first, and then we'll go from there. I mean, I thought Raw was okay. I thought Andrade and Drew had a pretty good match. I thought that they're building to Drew and Seth. Hey, it's not a bad idea. With Seth just being the ass of the company.
Right.
So, all in all, nothing too terrible here. But just,
So it looks like literally nothing happened on NXT worth mentioning.
They had some good matches. I would dare say that NXT had the better show than AEW this week as far as matches are concerned.
Gotcha. I was just looking for any standout story moments, and I didn't see much.
No. I thought AEW...
wrestling is good wrestling.
AEW left a lot to be desired this week, I'm not going to lie.
Gotcha.
Basically, they kind of just had some, I don't want to say squash matches, but they had a lot of matches that were just kind of there to make some, to give somebody momentum, be it Archer, be it Guevara, be it Spears. And then the main event did not benefit from not having a crowd.
Right.
I feel like if there was a crowd in that match, it would have been a little bit better. It would have came across a little bit better because there would have been some, when Mox was stuck in those submission holds, there could have been a hot crowd, really getting behind it. And when he escaped, there'd kind of, be a little bit more excitement. If you're going to have an empty arena match like that, it needs to be a straight-up brawl. It needs to be fucking Funk Lawler, Foley Rock. It's got to just go boom, boom, boom because you don't have anything to build to. There's no fans.
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is, Both guys worked hard. I don't have a problem with Jake Hager. I actually like, his role in the company, but I feel like if there's any visions they had about him being a world champion, I kind of hope that they left those there that night. TNT champion, tag team champion, all that's fine, but Yeah, no. Let's see what we got here. We got some more chatters.
Speaking of
Eric's here. What's up, man? I see you. Pardon?
I was saying Lance beat Colt Cabana to advance in the TNT tournament.
That wasn't okay. That was a good match. I shouldn't say that was so much part of a squash match or a strong win or whatever we want to call them here, but it's kind of. At no point in time did I ever feel like that match was in doubt. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't.
Right.
Like, it was a good match,
That makes sense.
but.
Totally makes sense.
Whenever I saw that match was going to be, I'm like, okay, well, they're going to probably build to Cody and Archer in the finals, and Colt Cabana's in the way.
Right.
I felt like Cody and Spears had a little bit more excitement to where I thought, oh, hey, shit, maybe Cody's downward spiral continues and he loses to Spears too, but that didn't happen. At no point did I think that, there are parts where I thought Shawn Spears was going to win that match. That no point in time did I think Colt Cabana was going to win that match.
That's fair.
If you want to, you brought up SmackDown from last week. You want to talk about SmackDown from last week?
Yeah, the only thing that stood out to me is, I guess Bray Wyatt's planning on challenging Strowman to get the belt back.
Well, now that we have Gold Turd gone, maybe the Fiend can get his belt back. And
I mean, at least the Fiend is facing someone from his past again, which is his whole shtick. So.
Well, and something else, and I feel like the Fiend should win just because then you could really go in a lot of trippy directions. Like, even more so, like, with that being the face of the company or the brand, you could mask the flaws that we're having to go through with the social distancing and the no crowd.
Right.
You could mask it a little bit more and kind of have a kayfabe reason as to why you're masking it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. I mean, now's the time. Now is the time.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, if there's ever a time, that time is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this to me, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to see the good that's out there, and I give a lot of people are saying a lot of things about the WWE this week, and rightfully so. And Lord knows I have my issues with them. I try to give them credit everywhere I can for doing the best they.
Yeah.
Both companies giving them all the credit I can with them doing the best they can with the hands they're dealt right now in the world. But on the flip side of things, it's just like I'm just without a crowd, it's getting kind of hard for me to get excited about this. Like, I mean, like I've said this in the past, but it's like it's really getting that way now. Like,
That's pretty fair. Yeah.
Like, ever since, after WrestleMania, it's just kind of been like, okay. Yep, here it is.
Right.
So.
Yep. I hear you.
Yeah.
Alright, so you already mentioned basically that Drew got attacked by Rollins at the end of the show on Raw.
Yeah.
To set that up. But we might as well at least mention the fact that they are apparently going forward with Money in the Bank because they're essential. So,
yep. That essential business that is WWE.
Yeah, I don't think we have...
Not a political bribe or nothing. No, nothing of that nature. No. Wouldn't think so, no.
So, yeah, right.
Right.
So, anyway, we did have some women's qualifying matches. So, Asuka beat Ruby Riott to be the first entry in the women's Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, duh. Shayna Baszler beat Sarah Logan. Another yeah, duh.
Especially with what happened with Sarah Logan now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've got that list pulled up in a minute. Nia Jax is back, so she squashed Kairi Sane, be the third entrant.
Fuck!
And I think
Fuck that.
This week.
Fuck that. No. Here's my dick moment. Here's my fucking dick moment, alright? Here's my rant. Here's my fucking dick moment. Fuck that fucking talentless hack Nia Jax. Fuck her. And fuck how she went over on Kairi Sane. Fuck that bullshit. You know, for all...
Who would be more entertaining? Who would be more entertaining to watch in a ladder match?
Exactly!
We're already dying out here.
For all the anti-AEW people out there that claim that think that WWE has the perfect goddamn women's division, and you know what? And I will concede, they have a significantly better women's division than AEW. I'm not saying it's better. So before people misconstrue shit, I ain't saying they're better. But if you're gonna nitpick on AEW, nitpick on that fucking bullshit. Nitpick on that fucking hack who still has a fucking job. Before you complain about fucking Leva Bates, or before you complain about fucking any of the Joshi women.
Right.
Saying, it's... Before you get all high and mighty about, WWE being better, you can have your opinion, but remember, before you go nitpicking, you have that. You have that. And it went over on one of the best women on your roster.
And on SmackDown, Tamina's challenging for the...
Man, all of a sudden, Big Swole and Nyla Rose looks like some A+ talent right there.
Yeah. Right. So, and as a side note, apparently we're still doing the whole Lashley-Lana implosion. No one cares, but it exists.
Well, let's segue that into the next unfortunate piece of business.
Yes.
It was yesterday was Black fucking Wednesday for quite a few of the members of the WWE roster, and not just wrestlers, but for producers, agents, everything. No one was safe, and a lot of Jedi. Do you have the list pulled up?
Yeah, I do. I couldn't believe it. So I'm just.
Well, first of all, here's something I wanted to do for the show. I feel like we should go through the list, and we should mention where you think would be their best, where they should land. Which ones should go to AEW, which ones should try ROH, which ones should do whatever. I feel like that would be so that way we can try and put a positive spin on the most negative situation. At least try to get some optimism out of this.
Fair enough. Alright, so at the top we have Kurt Angle. Which, Kurt Angle should stay in his house until this all blows over. That's what I say.
That's what I say too. Now, here is a part of me where I'm torn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm torn for a number of different reasons, and let me know how you feel in the comment section below. On one hand, even though it was against another hack like Baron Corbin, I take a lot of happiness and pride in the fact that I can say that I saw Kurt Angle's last match.
Yeah. And
I'm very happy to say that I was part of that, even if it was Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with how bad he looked.
Yeah.
In his last run, for the personal and the fact that, he is definitely not the Kurt Angle, and he knows this. They even told him for according to Kurt, they said, well, you can retire, but you're wrestling Baron Corbin. And he's like, okay, I'm fine with that because he's that ready to hang it up.
Right.
Maybe, possibly, because of how much he meant to that company. Maybe one more match in Impact at Bound for Glory.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not saying I want it to happen, but I'm saying that if he could go out there in Impact again against, like, and I don't keep up with Impact, so I don't know who's all there, but if he could go to Impact and wrestle someone better,
yeah.
Maybe he could get, leave in a nicer way. But I don't know if Kurt wants that, but this would be one WWE retirement that if he were to go to TNA or Impact or whatever and wrestle, it wouldn't. To me, it wouldn't be like when Ric Flair did. It's like, oh God, what are you doing? It's gonna be like, oh hey, he got one more in with a company that's probably meant just as much to him as WWE over, the course of his career.
As much time as he spent there. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's see.
Yeah, let's go to the next name.
Moving on, we got Rusev.
Rusev definitely needs to go to AEW and New Japan. Rusev's style, he could be a really good heavyweight in the New Japan heavyweight division. He could really get used to his fullest potential in New Japan. And possibly if he could work out a deal like Moxley and Jericho, if he could do both. AEW, bring on the monsters in AEW. And I'm saying that, I know it won't be Rusev Day, but whatever he's going to be called in AEW would be a good thing. And then, just imagine Rusev getting to be in the G1 Climax against people like Ishii or Goto. A lot of those big, thick, strong style guys. Rusev would fit in real well with that. And so New Japan or AEW would be a good spot to me for Rusev. What do you think?
I would have to agree. I kind of want to see Rusev go with. My brain's going to leave me now, but you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Shoot Fighter himself from New Japan.
Suzuki?
Huh?
Minoru Suzuki?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. The name was not coming to me. I knew I had his picture in my head, but I could not.
I have his picture right here behind me.
Well, yes, I meant in my mind's eye, but yes. Look, man, I got a lot of screens open right now. Anyway, Drake Maverick.
This is a tough one. First of all, Drake. First of all, I want to point out, his video he posted on Twitter after all this broke my damn heart yesterday. Oh, that just, God, I feel so bad for him. As far as where Drake Maverick will end up, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be good in AEW, but I really feel like there's just not really a spot for him. He would just kind of, right now AEW could need some monsters and the revival. Just because that's been being built up for way too long.
He can go back to Impact.
I feel like he could go back to Impact. I feel like Ring of Honor, Ring of Honor would be a good spot for him. New Japan in the juniors division, possibly. That would be good.
Maybe.
And then also, he could also do some Rev Pro work.
Now I'm leaning towards Ring of Honor.
Pardon?
After you said Ring of Honor, now I'm leaning towards Ring of Honor.
Well, I'm also thinking New Japan for the juniors division. New Japan and ROH, possibly.
Right.
And then he can probably get some Rev Pro dates in there as well. So, yeah. That'd be where I'd like to see Drake Maverick go. Or basically return to being Rockstar Spud.
Right. So, Gallows and Anderson of all people.
They're definitely. I feel like they should go back to New Japan.
Right.
The Bullet Club is in desperate need of more OGs to kind of give it that Bullet Club feel again. I know that the Guerrillas of Destiny have kind of taken over as the tag team of the Bullet Club, but really I feel like you can bring Gallows and Anderson back in. You can use them as a tag team. You can use them as a singles. Anderson going for the U.S. title against Moxley or the Never title. Same thing with Gallows also. Maybe, they could do some New Japan, some Ring of Honor. If they kind of feel like they've kind of been there, done that with New Japan, if they want to say, if they can get a good deal with Impact, I'd say go for that. AEW would not be I would not complain if they got signed by AEW, but again, you don't want to oversaturate AEW.
Yeah.
But having them against the Young Bucks wouldn't be a bad match, given their history. So, but if I was running AEW and you told me you can have one tag team, you can have Gallows and Anderson, or you can have the Revival, I'm taking Revival.
Well, yeah. Here's one for you, Eric Young.
Well, what about you? What do you feel about Gallows and Anderson?
Oh, I have to agree. If it came down to it with AEW, I think I'd definitely take the Revival over them. I don't know. New Japan might be a good place to land for right now until they kind of build their credibility back up, if that makes sense.
Right.
Considering how much they got their legs cut out from under them for the last few years.
Right. Yeah.
Go back and find that spark that is probably half died at this point, get in the groove, and then go from there.
Yeah. And honestly, if they could split time between New Japan and Ring of Honor, they'd be some good star power for ROH right now. Something else to consider, and it just dawned on me that'd be good for Gallows and Anderson, and possibly the Revival too, for at least for a short stint, would be the NWA.
You're right. Yeah, especially the Revival.
I mean, the Revival's got to go to AEW. I mean, that's been getting hyped up, but the Revival in the NWA is like peanut butter and jelly, though.
No kidding.
But there's just been too much. We've been waiting for the Revival and the Young Bucks since 2017.
It's
true.
Yeah. Now here's an interesting one. Eric Young.
Wow. I love Eric Young.
Right.
They fucked up Sanity royally.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel Eric Young has a spot in AEW.
No, not right now. Plus, he is an Impact legend.
Yeah, I feel like he could do it. I feel like he could do Impact. Impact or the NWA.
Yeah. Yep.
I really don't. See him as a New Japan guy. Now, I mean, if they brought him in, I'm not saying he'd be bad, but I just don't see him as a New Japan guy. But, that means nothing. I didn't see Moxley as a New Japan guy, and he's done quite well for himself in New Japan, though, so.
Right. Eric Young will go to New Japan and usher in a new golden era of the Bullet Club somehow.
Be a better leader than Jay fucking White.
Yeah.
Quote me on that.
Speaking of Impact alumni, EC3.
I think EC3 would be. I feel like the NWA is the spot for him. I mean, he could probably go back to Impact, but he's kind of.
That's what I was about to say. Was the NWA.
I feel like he kind of did all he could do in Impact. So if he wants a new challenge, the NWA, I just feel like he's kind of an old school type guy, and that'd be a great place for him. His character would work well in the NWA. I did see in an AEW group that I'm part of on Facebook, someone posted a picture of him and MJF with the AEW tag belts. That would not, I would not be against that, but I could see EC3 being one of the top villains in the NWA.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. If you're looking for a lot of, if our viewers are looking for a lot of dissenting opinions on this, they're probably not going to get it.
Right.
But, whatever. Kurt Hawkins.
I love Kurt Hawkins, but I really don't know where to put him. I feel like I know he's friends with the Bucks, so he might get kind of he might go to AEW, but I just really don't know if I would, because just again, you don't want to oversaturate that roster either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So I really don't have a spot for Kurt Hawkins. I mean, I feel bad saying that about him, but I really just don't have a spot for him anywhere. Maybe he could go to Impact. Maybe the NWL. No, the NWA you definitely can't oversaturate. I'm just gonna say Impact just for the sake of it's like, well, you can put him in the X Division. You could find a tag team for him in Impact, maybe.
Yeah, probably tag team I lean towards, but yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned the X Division. The next name on the list is Lio Rush.
Lio Rush, Impact's X Division, possibly Ring of Honor. Yeah, I could see him. I don't think they'll do this tournament this year, which sucks. But he'd be a good get for the Best of the Super Juniors in New Japan. But I don't think the Best of the Super Juniors is going to happen this year unless they do it like in the fall.
Right. Yeah, he would be good in that. Wasn't he in Ring of Honor at one point?
He was, yes.
Okay.
I actually saw him and Alex Shelley have a match against one another in St. Louis. So.
Cool. But X Division maybe, or like you said, Super Juniors could happen. That'd be good. I mean, he'll go somewhere. He's got enough talent and athleticism. Somebody will pick him up.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried about him as I am Kurt Hawkins.
Right.
Or the next name on the list, I mean, he had kids, damn it, but Heath Slater has been released.
Yeah, he's someone else that I really don't know where there's a spot. He was
supposed to be WWE champion to complete the trifecta.
I know. I could see. I really don't know where he'll end up. Maybe Impact. Possibly Ring of Honor. Give him a shot, kind of with that like Jamie Noble type run like he had in Ring of Honor.
Right.
But yeah, really, I don't know what I'd do with Heath Slater, and I'm a Heath Slater fan.
I mean, it wouldn't be beneficial to him in the long run, but the funny part of my head just wants to see him appear, like, on every show, just saying he needs money for his kids and just losing and then leaving.
That'd be funny, actually.
Like, AEW, Ring of Honor, just everywhere. NWA.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Right? I mean, so, yeah, there's my idea for you.
You guys can have that one, too. It's a good one.
Released.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Take the vaudevillains around the indie circuit. That's about the only thing I can really think of
Yeah.
for Aiden English. I mean,
And unless he wants to still partner up with Rusev and come up with something, but I think that ship has sailed.
I think it has as well.
Yeah.
I feel like if Rusev,
Oh, well.
if Rusev goes to AEW, as popular as Rusev Day was, it's their chance to remake him into a monster.
Right.
So
Yeah, I agree. And then slowly but surely let that awesome charisma go into the cool guy again, because it's just going to happen.
yeah,
I mean, Rusev's just, too cool. Too cool for school.
yes,
So I guess, it's great to lose on your way out the door, but the Vikings, Sarah Logan, has been released.
definitely needs to go to AEW and help that women's division.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yep, sounds good to me. And if not, then she'll find her way into TNA's knockout division.
Yes.
Yep.
Stay away from Women of Honor, because that's
Referee,
pretty pointless. What's next name?
referee Mike Chioda?
Ooh, yeah, that was just...
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's just sad, because he's been a ref since the Hulkamania days, since about 89. As long as I've been alive, he's been a referee.
Like, that hurts my brain a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Of all the people. Well, NWA.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe AEW. I mean, they have all the classic. They have all the classic referees. They got Earl. They got Bryce.
True.
They got Paul Turner.
Commentators, so
Yeah.
yeah.
They got Earl. They got Bryce. They got Paul Turner. They have the top referee from the Indies. They have the top referee from WWE, and the top referee from ROH. So, hey, why not? AEW referee Mike Chioda.
There we go. Well, either AEW or NWA, I say.
Yeah.
They'd be fighting over him. Primo and Epico Cologne.
I think they'll probably end up going back to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'd imagine you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
Eric Rowan.
I would say AEW, but I don't know if he's really got a spot there. I feel like I think he'd be a good fit for Impact.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe he could. I would have a problem with him getting a few. I'm not saying like a big role, but a few shots in New Japan. As kind of a monster, and if he works, he works.
That'd be interesting to see.
Suzuki Gun does need a new big man now that Archer's gone, so Rusev would be good. Rusev would be good in Suzuki Gun as well.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Rowan. Yeah, I would go with like maybe Impact or maybe Ring of Honor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just haven't really seen all that much from Rowan, so I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he can go somewhere and shine,
Yeah.
At least have the opportunity to do.
Right.
The Kanellises, Mike and Maria.
Well, I don't know. Are they going to be going to do a cuckold storyline again or not?
Right. Well,
this was something like I feel bad for both of them for losing their jobs, but this was like the one. And again, I say this. I feel terrible that a family with children with a newborn has lost their job. That is awful. That is the worst. But if there's ever a release, if there was ever a release, I'd go, that's a good release, and it's them. I could possibly go back to Impact. I really don't want him in AEW. I really don't want him in AEW at all. I feel like they're too damaged goods at this point, and Maria, sweet lady, but not a very good wrestler.
Right. No. A good personality to be ringside, but not a good wrestler.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, like, I used to hate Mike Bennett / Kanellis. He did win me over the couple matches I saw him, one against El Generico, one against Delirious. So I don't hate the guy, but I really don't feel like there's a spot for him in AEW. In NWA would be a good spot for him. The NWA would actually work out really well.
You jumped ahead of me. I was about to say that, darn it.
Well, I mean, that'd probably be a good spot for them. They kind of have a good package, and
Yeah.
You could even if you wanted to bring them in as heroes at first, going, that's not our relationship, that's not who we are, and they wanted, we needed money for our family, so they told us to act this way on television, and
right.
do some kind of thing like that, and start out really, hooray, it's them, and then they could easily just turn like that and be like, be kind of like a new Jimmy Garvin and Precious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, NWA for those two, I think. Oh my. So I don't even know what to say about this poor guy, Zack Ryder.
AEW bound, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Cody has gone on record in the past saying that other than his brother, there's one guy that he wanted to have for All In, and that was Zack Ryder. I'm sure he'll have a spot in AEW. I don't know if it's going to be a prominent spot, but he'll have a spot.
Right.
You could possibly bring him and Hawkins in as a tag team, but if you can only have one, I'd take Ryder for AEW, and I'm pretty sure that one's going to happen because just of how close he is with Cody. But then again, Marty Scurll didn't come, so you never know.
Well, he got an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yes. Yes.
So, and last and least on the list I got No Way Jose. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I feel bad.
Ladies and gentlemen.
There's certain people that are just, I hate to be this way, but kind of like with me, with like what I said with Aiden English. This isn't a knock on anybody's talent whatsoever. But unfortunately, there are certain people that could go to one of the other bigger feds and, maybe have a spot, go to your Impacts, your Ring of Honors. And there's certain people that just might have to, travel the indies and just be like, hey, I used to be in the WWE guy for a while. And I believe No Way Jose is one of those guys.
Yep.
Same thing with, the Vaudevillains reunion on the Independents. That's just, I mean, hey, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because there's some big indies they could, you got GCW, you've got AAW in Chicago, you've got all these different independents that, I'm not saying they don't have worldwide, they don't have TV deals, but they kind of have their own following, and hey, the Vaudevillains or No Way Jose and something like that wouldn't be bad at all, for a Game Changer Wrestling,
Yeah.
Anything of that nature.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere, and from what I saw, really, he never even started in WWE.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, use him didn't happen this year. Just imagine, like, those people, that I mentioned doing some of those GCW shows WrestleMania weekend, like the Joey Janela Spring Break or the Effie's Big Gay Brunch or something like that. Some of those themed shows that happen WrestleMania weekend, they would work. They would work well for that, especially Joey Janela Spring Break. So,
right.
I mean, I feel like that's the best spot for them.
Yep.
And, well, hopefully that's a positive spin on all these releases that came at the worst possible time.
Right. I mean, on the bright side, at least a couple of them were wanting out and got out, so there's that.
It's still bad timing.
The Canellas.
It's still really bad timing, On one hand, you can say, hey, it's a business and they aren't getting a lot of revenue in, cuts are going to have to be made. That's just how, the cuts are being made in the world, so wrestling's not going to be immune. So I get that. The people playing devil's advocate, I get that. But on the flip side, Meltzer, I'm not saying he's a prophet, but this is just according to Meltzer, said they had enough money they could still probably be profitable this year just from, branding. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
the man knows his numbers. So.
Yeah. So that is pretty much it. Try to put a positive spin on something pretty terrible. Appreciate everybody for coming by and watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more content. Right now it's just this because there's not really a whole lot else I can do. But I do and will continue when this whole thing ends to have content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from gaming, anime, comic books, and all things geek culture.
You need to be doing some gaming, man, or some...
I don't have the right equipment. The equipment was not at Athletic Geek HQ.
Ah. Gotcha.
That's why. But,
okay.
so we'll have to see on that. But, go follow me on all my social media pages.
Yes, social media pages.
Yes, Facebook.com/AthleticGeek89, Twitter @Athletic_Geek89, and Instagram @AthleticGeek89. Jedi, no social media because much like Heath Slater, he's got kids. He ain't got time for it, but hit me up and I'll forward the message and he will respond in some way if you have a question or comment for Jedi. And I know I tried to have this whole show be, try to put a positive spin on negative situations, but be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Unfortunately, earlier today, we lost the greatest ring announcer in wrestling history. Fortunately, Howard the Fink Finkel passed away today. When I think of legendary title changes and just when I think of somebody's name being announced is coming to the ring or the winner of a match, I think of Howard Finkel's voice, and that's with all due respect to your Justin Roberts, your Lillian Garcias, your Tony Chimmels, your David Pinzers, all of them that have done that job. Howard Finkel was the best. He's the standard by which they're all set, and he was also a big force behind the scenes for many years in WWE, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Howard Finkel through this difficult time.
Yeah.
And definitely gonna miss the Fink, even though he hasn't been able to be around. Definitely gonna miss the Howard Finkel being able to potentially have one more last introduction. So,
right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hate to end on a downer, but this episode's dedicated to the memory of the greatest ring announcer of all time, Howard the Fink Finkel. So for Jedi Jason Kruger, I am the Athletic Geek. We're just two marks. We're out. Have a good one.